Hi, hello, and welcome back to a podcast where I talk about going from a corporate drone to corporate dropout as a fitness content creator, fitness coach, and gaming content creator. You know it, you love it. Welcome back to Chaos and Fuckery. And well, today we're going to talk about some things that go together, right? So we know TikTok is on borrowed time already. All the creators that make money with TikTok Shop, all the creators that, have been solely reliant on TikTok and not being able to build platforms in other places. We know this app be on borrowed time because at this point it's supposed to be banned, right? And ironically, the man that started the ban just keeps pushing it off. I'm not going to complain about it because I don't mind, still having TikTok's reach capability, but even me is focusing more on YouTube and YouTube Shorts. However, and yes, there's the rumored, American only app, which I don't know what that would look like. Will we still have Shop? What if I were to migrate to that app, which I'm not even sure I will, what would that look like? Because, part of TikTok is being able to reach people from all over. However, while we are still on borrowed time, if you will, as American users, TikTok has announced a recent change to their terms of service and guidelines. Now, those who have done fitness content and those who have done, weight loss content on TikTok are very aware that TikTok is more strict on weight loss content than other apps. There are a lot of warnings when it comes to, is this coming from a reputable source? There's a lot of warnings when it comes to discussing weight loss. There's a lot of, borderline, like, is this eating disorder content that can get flagged? The flagging algorithm is also not great when it comes to weight loss content. You might have to appeal your content every now and again for, against guidelines, even just talking about basic health and fitness things. They have now made that even more interesting. They've changed their branded content guidelines to disallow things like before and afters, things like promising weight loss that they may deem extreme. And yes, technically it's just branded content, but I see one major problem with that in the fact that any creator that wants to utilize products in the TikTok shop that are weight loss related would typically use a before and after, or would typically use some sort of health claim, if you will, to sell said product. For instance, there is a product in TikTok shop right now called GLP-1 patches. There is literally zero scientific backing that transdermal distribution of the GLP-1 peptide actually works. There really is zero support for these patches, right? GLP-1s work, but there isn't any research really, or, blind studies or anything like that showing that a transdermal delivery in the form of a patch would work over the current delivery method that is, injection. So TikTok Shop is banning branded content a lot around, weight loss. And I'm not sure if branded content also applies to business accounts. If you are a business account, and I also feel like it's not extremely obvious, for TikTok algorithms or AI bots or whatever it is that flags our content automatically, to be able to tell the difference between branded content and non-branded content. But also, if they are going to say that these things are not allowed, they shouldn't be selling products in TikTok shop or allowing sellers, because TikTok themselves don't really sell much of anything. They shouldn't be allowing creators or businesses to sell products that have no scientific backing. And the problem with that is you lose pretty much the entire supplement industry at that point. Because creatine is one of the only extremely studied supplements that has scientific backing for everyday use in certain scenarios. There is starting to be more studies on the longevity effects of creatine, but for weightlifters, there definitely is plenty of science for creatine. The rest, they're very little. Third-party studies don't really count. So you would lose all your pre-workouts, all your proteins. Basically, every fitness influencer that shovels products, whether it be Rise, whether it be Echovision, whether it be Gorilla Mind, whether it be Bucked Up, all of these companies would have to remove their products from TikTok shop because they could no longer do branded content with creators talking about before and afters. Their only version of branded content would be something like, a former Fat Guy Fitness who does reviews of those products. And, not every company wants to risk an influencer saying their product's ass online. So they're not gonna want to do review content. They're gonna want you to show your before and after. They're gonna want you to show these unrealistic claims. And, a lot of before and afters are altered. However, yes, it will impact fitness influencers specifically. If they can no longer do branded content that show before and afters, they can no longer do branded content that show unrealistic weight loss. They can no longer do those things, sure. And there are other, branded content guideline updates that do change the space, but focusing specifically on the fitness side. Because I think, some of the background music and things like that, gaming content creators have dealt with that for a long time. It's called split tracks. And, you can be listening to music. That doesn't mean your chat has to. Anyways, I don't see as big of an impact to a lot of creators, other than maybe like DJs and things with some of the other branded guideline updates, as I do with the weight loss ones. But that might just be because I am a fitness creator, right? I can see this, however, impacting businesses as well. What does every fitness coach use to try to sell their products before and afters? Even if they're running a completely free challenge and no money is exchanged, they will use a before and after more than likely to sell that challenge and sell that they are a good coach. I personally, or they'll sell the stories with a before and after as a picture. I don't use before and afters. Why? Well, because I think they're scammy. Every individual is different, and you're gonna show the one individual that managed to lose 20 pounds in 10 days. That's not realistic. That's just me spitballing to show that you're a good coach. You had it happen once. Who knows? That person could have been sick and, throwing up from food poisoning. And you're going to say it was your coaching that did it. And that's what I don't like, right? Even a creator I've talked about here on the past, Blake Nutrition Arc, he doesn't do nutrition poorly, but I would say he does it extremely when he does go on a cut. It's not a bad thing to do in short spurts, right? And his argument is, I would rather do an extreme cut for a shorter amount of time to get where I want to than a reasonable cut in a longer time frame. And I totally get that. I am like that too. But if you're trying to sell that as something that is sustainable for everybody, which he's not, I'm just saying, some people will take that mentality and sell that as their product, if you will, that's when it becomes an issue, because you're not taking into account the individuality of every person, right? One of the creators that have recently got me reconsidering, what I eat in a day videos, because I've always hated them, is Scotty K Fitness. Again, I follow a lot of creators that are, similar mindsets to me, maybe a little different in some ways, but Scotty K did a what I eat in a day video recently that I actually could get behind, right? I've always hated on what I eat in a day videos just because I don't understand their purpose. I don't understand why users love them so much. And I know users love to see them. But at the end of the day, what I eat in a day has nothing to do with what you're going to eat in the day. My macros are not your macros. And I feel like sharing recipes is better than sharing what I eat in a day, right? I just created a mini version of a peanut butter pie that's healthier using PB Fit and non-dairy whipped cream and blah, 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 blah. I would share that recipe and the estimated macros because, unfortunately, for everyone involved, every recipe I create is random fucking nonsense. I do not measure, especially the first time I do it, because I'm going off of, that texture looks about right, especially with protein bakes and, my ice creams and things like that. I end up having to throw in a little here and a little there, so I'm never 100% certain on calories and macros. And, that can be complicated for people who need to be 100% certain when they track. I have never been a food weigher, but I know a lot of people that swear by it. And I think that is where, that branded content thing TikTok is trying to get into, or trying to ban, I should say, comes in. There are many people that, went off and got surgery and would show their before and after to sell their program without disclosing that they were assisted by surgery. And, a content creator on the average doesn't owe you anything unless you're trying to sell a product. If you're trying to sell your coaching or trying to sell a product and you say that those things are the reason you got the body you did, well, then you've got an issue. And that is the biggest interesting piece of this branded content thing, because I think fitness influencers that use, not fitness influencers, fitness coaches that use before and afters as a way to market their programs are now going to have to get very strategic about how they market if they are utilizing TikTok. And I foresee, I've heard a lot of rumors of, is it the FCC? One of the governing bodies, if you will, cracking down on online marketing when it comes to those solutions, when it comes to, guarantees in your marketing, when it comes to unrealistic weight loss, promotions, when it comes to just that kind of style of marketing. And I think from a business perspective, I have never loved that style of marketing to begin with. I have never wanted to sell my body, other people's bodies as the reason I know what I'm doing. At the end of the day, you have to be willing to put in the work. I could give you the best program in the world. I could give you the perfect macros in the world. And if you aren't doing the things, you're not going to see results. And I don't like giving guarantees in anything. I guarantee 5 pounds down in this 30-day challenge. Well, I can't guarantee that. I can say if you follow the program, sure, yeah, maybe. But also every body is different. Some people hold water. You could have weighed in a weird time frame, hormonally. So many different factors is why I don't like fitness marketing. And I went on a little bit rant about how the no like trust with online consumers is broken because of things like MLMs and people getting into the fitness space that don't actually know what they're doing. Someone said, I want to know your workout routine to an influencer, and they started selling it like they actually had a fucking clue. Just because it works for you doesn't mean A, it is a good workout routine, and B, it'll work for other people. I have seen disgusting things go as far as, selling 1,200 calorie diets to grown adults. And yes, I understand in, the grand sphere of body size and everything else, 1,200 calories could, for a very small adult, be realistic as a cut, but not always. And there's so many variable factors that you cannot sell cookie cutter anything. Even personal training, right? Your basic exercises. We don't want you doing anything crazy, but you're still going to tailor it to the individual. Maybe they have a knee injury. Maybe they have a back injury. Maybe, they only have body weight a chair at home, right? Maybe they need to work out from a chair. Those are all things that you need to tailor for when you have a new client come into your ecosystem, that a lot of these people that have no idea what the fuck they're doing, that have gotten into the space, will start telling you, no, I'm going to sell you this very cookie cutter program. On top of that, they'll sell that it's personalized, and it's not. If you talk to any other person in their system, you'll know you got the exact same thing. And it's never personalized to you, never edited for you. And that's crazy to me. Even when I was doing like my guinea pigs for some of my certs, like they were aware, hey, you're my guinea pig. I'm going through the motions of getting a cert that I have to actually have hands-on experience for to turn into the certifying board. I still did everything I needed to tailor to that client. Even, it was like some things could be not by the book, right? There is an option to everything in nutrition, and there's an option to everything in fitness or physical workouts. If you don't want to run for cardio, let's look at swimming. I'm going to start adding, actual ocean swimming to my roster. I thought I was going to go back to pool swimming, but I think I might, or maybe I go back to pool swimming. I don't know, but that's something I want to add back into my roster, right? So that's where we're at. That is where we're at. And I think TikTok is doing a good thing here. However, they need to remove the products that if you were to create a TikTok shop ad for them would require you to do banned branded content. Because at the end of the day, if we're not removing the products that cause some of these problems, we're not removing the problem. There are so many things in the supplement industry that are just slop and junk, those GLP-1 patches for one, that people fall for it. People don't do their own research. They trust whatever influencer told them to buy it. They trust the before and afters. They trust, what seems to be the authoritative truth on fitness. And typically that is before and after. So if we're no longer allowed to use those as fitness people, how are we supposed to sell our products? So either you remove the sale of fitness products as a whole, including coaching, which would suck for me, off of TikTok, and like fitness challenges and everything else, or you make it very clear that, before and afters are meant for product and not one-on-one coaching or subscriptions or lead generation. Because I see a lot of fitness business getting in trouble with this new guideline. But also, I would like to see a scrub of the products. I've seen so much jank fitness product that, I would love to do more review series of just jank fitness product because they are jank. If I could get free samples of some of this shit, I don't want to spend my own money on them. That's how jank they are. I wouldn't spend my own money. And maybe some of them prove me wrong, but most of them at this current moment seem to be preying on those who are desperate. And maybe, the GLP-1 patches, they're preying on the people that probably can't afford to maintain a regular dose needed to lose the weight that they needed to, or continue to deal with some of the food noise and other things that GLP-1s have been noted to help people with because their insurance isn't paying for it. So they went to a GLP-1 patch because it's not a prescription noted by insurance and it's a more affordable option, not knowing that there's no scientific backing behind it. And it likely will not have the same effect that actually being on a GLP-1 would. It's all placebo. Let's be real. A chunk of fitness, even the products that do work, is placebo. You've done something else that ultimately puts you in, a calorie deficit. The products are the products. They're not actually aiding you in anything. They can assist in certain things within your body, just like a multivitamin can, but they're not solving the problem for you. No supplement ever has, and no supplement ever will, which is why, if we're not allowed to do branded content when it comes to fitness, weight loss style stuff, all those products need to be removed from TikTok Shop. That's my vote. I think the guidelines are good in theory if you have real people reviewing the content that gets reported under that guideline, because I think the bot is going to flag a lot, specifically with like coaches selling their own products. And I don't mean physical, I mean, coaching, one-on-one services. I think a lot is going to get flagged under that new guideline as branded content for a product. And especially if they can flag, unlisted branded content in a way, I could see that being an issue. I need real people in a timely manner reviewing these products, these appeals, because I have a feeling a lot of fitness creators are going to get caught up in this world of this new branded content guideline, and even potentially reviews like Former Fat Guys will get caught up in this because he does TikTok Shop link a lot of the products he reviews, at least if they're good ones. Or I guess maybe nowadays that he's a sponsored athlete, only he links the ones that he's sponsored by. I don't know. Point being is anyone who does a review of a fitness product and then links it, then that would be considered branded content. And if you show any before and after, right? I saw someone do a before and after with the Kaizen challenge, because a piece of the Kaizen challenge is fitness. And so you could clearly tell, they were working out, and that was, a piece of it. And so if that is the case, that branded content could have been flagged, and it has nothing to do with, selling products that are selling unrealistic weight. So I think an appeal process needs to be, real humans reviewing, is this reasonable for, the health and fitness space? Is this reasonable for this product and all of those things? Because an outright ban, I don't agree with, because, I don't agree with the outright ban on speech at all. But I do agree that the fitness space is a mess and we need to clean it up, in the sense that there is a lot of mis and disinformation out there that is just believed, either because, crunchy era has come to be and science has left the fitness space, which is humorous to me. It's the same thing with, like banning dyes and artificial sweeteners. Those aren't really the problem, scientifically speaking. If you consume a fuck ton of it, sure, maybe you'll have some issues, but no one's consuming that amount. And it's the same thing with all of these products, right? There's something else there that is, causing you to have that before and after, usually. that needs to be disclosed as well. Hey, ate in the calorie deficit and worked out 3 times a week alongside this product. It helped me do X, Y, and Z, and here's my before and after. Not this product caused my because Bloom is notorious. Branded content with Bloom, not only do they not disclose that they are branded content, so many people have talked about the benefits of, the healthy gut and all of the things that came with Bloom Greens originally, and now there are 500 other supplements under the Bloom wing. Now they have clean energy, and I'm like, what is clean energy? Alani is clean energy too. Fuck all that shit. Fuck Bloom. I have, my own version of fuck V-Shred. Fuck Bloom. Yeah. I think some companies, even when they sponsor, even without TikTok Shop, they sponsor creators, especially when Bloom sponsors people in the fitness space. They'll talk about, I'm no longer bloated, and girl, be fucking for real. Be fucking for real right now. Like drinking swamp water with some fruity flavoring in it ain't the reason you're not bloated anymore. Eat a fucking broccoli. I don't know. I think greens powders, I don't think science says greens powders are dumb. You cannot physically consume enough of the powder to actually make up your daily need. And they can be great if you're like in a pinch and need like an on the go when you're traveling or something. They still taste like swamp water. I used to mix greens and reds together when I was testing, some green supplements at one point, and it looked atrocious, and it tasted it's very grainy. No, Bloom needs to be studied, and how illegal some of the shit that company has done is and are. And the fact that some creators, it's like BetterHelp, like some creators still are sponsored by BetterHelp. I'm like, how did you not learn? How did you not learn from that whole big scandal there, sir? Bloom is the same way, except for their scandal was a lot more quiet when it comes to undisclosed ads and everything else. And they are in the fitness space. So the supplement industry is, reading us all for filth. They don't really disclose, how studied these things are and what the science backing is for a lot of them, because there isn't. There's some studies here and there, aside from creatine. The rest are just nice to haves. I like a pre-workout because I like being fucking, as one of the creators on TikTok would put it, cracked out and blacked out. I like feeling tingly and psychotic and, listening to metal music when I go lift. Like, okay, that's me. That doesn't mean you have to. Like, some people just like black coffee. Black coffee is not enough to do that to me, so I need an overhyped fucking pre-workout. That's me, though. I would never say my pre-workout is the reason I've lost 30 pounds. Like I said, be fucking for real right now. So I do think these guidelines are a good thing, especially for branded content, because it allows consumers to clearly see, this product is not the reason these people are losing weight. However, I think it can hurt fitness creators like myself and fitness, coaches that actually do have, the letters behind our name, if you will, to back us to, be able to effectively market our businesses. And it will be interesting. However, like I said at the beginning, TikTok's on borrowed time. So will any of this matter? Who knows? I mean, we've been on borrowed time for a long time, so it's also entirely possible that this app never happens. And these guidelines, there's branded content on YouTube, but like it's not the same as linking a product in the bottom of your short form video. So because like I just made a commission on TikTok Shop for protein. No one needs the protein, but the product that I linked is one that I buy all of the time, and it's a multi-variety pack that makes not having to buy the giant ass tubs a lot easier and a lot better, because then you get multiple flavors, and you can do different ice creams and different bakes, and you don't have to worry about only having one flavor of something or having giant ass tubs around your house. Yay me. Anyways, that is it for today's episode. I think TikTok is on the right shot. I really do. I think I don't agree with like censoring what brands can do with like who they sponsor and what, that sponsor can do with that content, because I do agree, I'm fully for freedom of speech. But at the same time, TikTok is also a private business, just like, Facebook and Instagram can take down left-leaning content when they feel like it. TikTok, while overzealous in some of their things, can take down anything they want as well and ban anything they want as well. Is it good for an overall community? I think so. from a branded content. If we start talking about, individuals talking about their before and afters and those things start getting, community guideline violation, then yeah, maybe we've gone too far. But definitely for branded content, I agree. We shouldn't be talking how products are the reason we have the bodies we do, because it's simply not true. Unless you are literally defying the laws of physics, or you're basically, the supplement you're trying to sell is a starvation pill, an appetite suppressant, if you will, that creates your calorie deficit for you, then, it's all slop and bullshit anyway. So I do agree that TikTok's kind of on the right for branding content. If it goes past that, then we have issues, and business fitness influencers and fitness coaches are gonna have a struggle with this new branded content thing, because that means they can't talk about supplements really, and I think that's good. I think we should stop shilling supplements. If you have no business outside of shilling supplements, then you should figure out different things to do with life. That's my thought. But that was a lot of chaos. I have no control over TikTok, and TikTok is on borrowed time. So we don't even know really what we're going to see from fitness influencers that currently only really live on TikTok in the future. And I'm interested to see where this all goes and how it impacts people. But for right now, I mean, those guidelines haven't even gone into effect yet. So we shall see what happens. And if you were a fellow fitness content creator, influencer, how do you think it'll impact you on TikTok? Drop those in the comments below. Hit that subscribe button if you want to follow along in the journey and commiserate together as fellow entrepreneurs. And I will be back on Thursday with some more gaming chaos and fuckery.